The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
Welcome, everybody. My name is David Bush, and I get to be your host and moderator for this exciting webinar on the topic of New Year's resolutions and how to create the life that you desire. We're so excited that you joined us here tonight. We've got people that are coming from all different walks of their health journey. You may have been invited by a friend. You may have seen this on social media. You may not know a lot about OPTAVIA and the health coaching company that we represent, but we're going to tell you a little bit more about it tonight. This is our Habits of Health webinar. This is a webinar that we do on a regular basis to encourage and to enlighten our clients and our coaches and friends and family members on how to adopt a healthier lifestyle. And we can't wait to share with you tonight some great strategies on how to achieve your top resolutions. I've got an all-star cast of panelists that are going to share tonight on some tips that they've used to achieve their health resolutions. And, we're going to talk about some stuff that is going to be really applicable that has to do with not weight loss, but life. So we can't wait for each one of you to learn more about what it is that we're doing to find success with achieving our resolutions, to help you to achieve your resolutions, and so you can help other people to achieve their resolutions, because what we found is we're better together in community. So in terms of the agenda for tonight, we're going to talk about why most people fail at achieving resolutions. We're going to talk about the truth about designing and living an optimal life. And then we're going to talk about 4 tips to achieve your 2019 resolutions and share lots of different support resources so that this webinar is just the beginning of the support that you get in 2019 to achieve the goals that you set for yourself. And so if you just arrived, be sure to go over to the chat message and throw in your New Year's resolution. We'd love to see from the community where everybody's tuning in from in terms of what they'd like to accomplish in the new year. So this is a quote that I heard recently from John Maxwell, and I want you to think about it from this perspective. I want you to look at your screen, and I want you to put your arms out to the side, and I want you to tilt one arm up and one arm down. And I want you just to think about this pose for just a moment. Because what John Maxwell did in this seminar that I went to is that he talked about the fact that most people have uphill hopes and dreams. They're somewhere up here, but they have downhill habits. And those downhill habits are oftentimes what prevent people from making their New Year's resolutions to become a reality. So what we do in our health coaching company, and what we want to do tonight, is share some strategies to move you from your downhill habits that you maybe have learned over decades. And we want to turn those habits, and we want to focus those habits on creating the life that you desire. And most people were born into an unhealthy lifestyle. They're born into a river, what we call, of bad health. And most people have just been floating that river for most of their life. Some people didn't have a weight problem until just after they had gotten older. They got to the point where they just became less active. They began eating more because food was everywhere. And it's not their fault that they were in the river. That's just the environment that they grew up in. And what's happening is more and more people are going over the waterfall of bad health, or what we would call ordinary health in America. Over 71% of Americans are overweight and obese. Many people being diagnosed with lifestyle-related diseases. And this is just the 71% that are overweight and obese. There's a whole bunch of other people, and this may be you. You may not be overweight and obese, but you may be unhealthy. You may be in a position where you're camping out in the valley of complacency. But here's the deal. The water's rising. 2019 is not going to be an easier year for people to get healthier. It's going to be one of those years where people are either going to choose to pursue the summit of optimal health and well-being, or they're going to fall into the river of bad health, or they're going to camp out for one more year in a comfort cave, short of their potential. or you're going to end up taking on the challenge. And this is what we want to challenge you in 2019 to accomplish. We want you to get partnered up in a healthy community and partner up with others who are climbing the mountain of optimal health, who are adopting the habits of health, one healthy habit at a time. Step by step, we're beginning to understand what we can do to develop uphill habits so that we can achieve those uphill hopes and dreams. So hopefully you've had a chance to put your New Year's resolution into writing. Have you done that yet? Have you taken the challenge to put your New Year's resolution inside the chat message? We'd love for you to do that, because that's one of the steps that we find that helps people to move forward, is just taking the time to write it down. Now, obviously, this webinar is going to disappear from most of your screens in the next few minutes, but if you'll take the time to write it down now, maybe you can copy and paste it into your calendar, or maybe you can put it into some other place that's visual because you've taken the time to at least write it out right now when somebody asks you to do it. Now, one of the things that we do in our health coaching program is we help people to identify the fact that, there are multiple different facets to helping a person to achieve their health goals, and everything is interrelated. So a person that has big physical health goals, like they want to lose weight and get in shape, they also have to address some of the other areas in life that may be problematic. It's not to say that you have to resolve every area, but if you don't understand that all things affect all things, you may try to do something in your physical health and struggle and think that you just don't have the willpower to do it. But the reality of it is maybe there's something that's a problem behind the problem that's holding you back from climbing that mountain. So if you take a look at this well-being evaluation and you begin to look at the different aspects of health and well-being, how would you grade yourself in the area of physical health? Would you give yourself a bad score, or would you give yourself an optimum score? What about mental well-being and health? How are you doing mentally, relationally, socially, spiritually? And then how are you doing financially or vocationally, if that's a word? How are you doing in working in the career of your choosing? Do you enjoy what you do every day? Most people spend 40 hours a week at a job or in a career that they don't really love to do. But then they try to get healthy in their physical health or their mental health, and they struggle, oftentimes because it's the stress of their career. So that doesn't mean that you have to quit your job to be healthy, but it could be one of the things that you could begin to explore that could maybe help you to create more health and well-being and help you to achieve your 2019 resolutions. What we try to do is awaken people to the idea that they can create the life that they desire. Do you believe that? Have you ever been told that you can achieve the life that you truly desire? Many people have not had that person in their corner that's helped awaken them to the fact that they could create a healthier, happier, and more fulfilled life. That's what we do, is we help people to clarify their desired outcome. Most people try to set goals to resolve problems like getting rid of weight or getting in shape, but they never take the time to design the life that they want to live. They never clarify what they want to be, do, and have. Have you ever done that? This document, which you can see there's a link on the screen, and that link will take you to this document that we call a structural tension chart. That structural tension chart helps you to clarify where you are today, and being real honest with yourself is a great tip to get you to where you want to go in 2019. And then it also challenges you to clarify your goal, clarify the vision, the desired outcome that you would like to accomplish in 2019. If you could close your eyes and dream what you'd like to be, do, and have, if there was no reservations, if there was no restrictions, if nothing was holding you back, what could you be? What could you do? And what could you have that you would love to be, do, and have? When you begin to create that separation, you begin to create a healthy form of tension. And what we can do then is we can begin to put the habits and the action steps as the secondary choices to move you from where you are today to wherever you want to be at the end of the year. Now, what oftentimes people do when we start to challenge them in this concept of creating the life that they desire, what happens is they start looking downhill. They start focusing in on their past. They start thinking about all the limiting beliefs that they have, or all the negative concepts or the limiting concepts. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough willpower. I don't have enough people around me to support me. I don't know what to do. Or they think about the problems. Maybe it's the dietary restrictions or the limitations with exercise, and they focus in on all the things that they currently know about them or their past. And a lot of times they're failures. Most people have tried to achieve New Year's resolutions, but they've done it the wrong way. They're doing it based on what they know. And Mark Twain had this great quote that said, "It's not what we know that's the problem. It's what we know for certain that just isn't so that's the problem." Have you been focusing in 2019 on your limiting beliefs? Have you started this year thinking that you can't? Have you started this year thinking about something negative? Have you been thinking about the problems that you have versus the opportunities, the hopes and dreams that are at the top of the hill? That's what we want to focus on. And I want to bring in Miriam. Miriam's got a great idea on how you can end up accelerating your progress in 2019 with the help of a coach or a support system. Miriam, welcome to the webinar.
Thanks so much. Good evening, everybody. As David said, I am Miriam, coming to you 106 pounds lighter than you originally would have found me. And as many of you can probably relate, I started my journey with a lot of experience. I had done this many times in the past. So for me, one of the defining factors of success has certainly been having support from a coach. As part of an amazing community, I'm blessed with a whole lot of support and accountability. Now, I can do this by myself, right? We all know what to do, but when it's left between me and me, I can negotiate with myself and no one will be the wiser, right? But when I'm in a moment in a situation where I have to choose between this or this, and I hear that angel and I hear that devil on my shoulder, they both sound like me. So it's kind of hard to tell the difference. But when that voice in my head sounds like my coach, I usually know that's the path that I want to go in. Okay, here are some tips that I can give you, my experience working successfully with a coach. Are you ready? You have your pen because you've already written down your resolutions, so you can jot down these tips. Number one, really open up. Really be open and receptive and listen to your coach's feedback. Most likely, your coach is at least one step ahead of you and has some experience. So be receptive to that objective voice. Number two, this is your journey. Own it. Don't sit around waiting for your coach to call. If you have a question, ask it. If you have a milestone, call your coach, celebrate it. If you have a challenge, share it. Own your journey and allow your coach to partner with you. And on that note, here is your third and final tip from me. Be in touch with your coach even when you super don't want to. Especially when you super don't want to. When you feel like it's that moment that you're way too embarrassed to pick up that phone, that should be your signal that now is more important than ever. I can tell you folks, my journey is not always a straight line, but it's when I fall out of touch with my support system and I fall out of touch with my goals, that is when I struggle the most. And when I pick up that call, as disappointed with myself as I might feel, that is when hope opens for me. That is when I get back in touch with somebody who remembers my goals when they've gotten a little fuzzy for me, when I'm back in touch with somebody who believes in me when I might be a little bit harder on myself at that moment. So grab yourself some support and make the most of it.
So good. And you know, as some people here on this webinar may not have a coach, and if you don't have a coach, refer back to the person that invited you, and they will connect you to their coach, or maybe they are the coach that is working with our OPTAVIA program that's coaching people to achieve the resolutions. And it's not what you think it is. Trust me, it's not what you know about coaching. It's about what you don't know about coaching and how super affordable it is and how you can benefit from having a coach regardless of what it is that you're currently trying to accomplish. So next we're going to throw it over to Craig, and Craig's going to talk a little bit more about growing personally and how growing personally using a transformational system can help you to achieve your resolutions. Craig, welcome to the webinar.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And thanks for what you shared as well, Miriam. It's exciting to be part of this whole OPTAVIA and all that it offers. And I'm excited tonight to talk really about a systematic approach to change. If you think about a systematic approach, every time you've ever cooked something from a recipe, you've essentially used a system. Somebody else went before you, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, and eventually they got to, that tastes like I want it to taste. Well, for you, when it comes to your health, there are people out there that have created a recipe, and we've tested it and tested it and tested it until we've got it just right. And so that's what this particular program, OPTAVIA, oddly enough, stands for the optimal way. And it's not so much a company as it is a philosophy of how to live your life. And so the Habits of Health system plugs into and is able to deliver that to you in a predictable way. I'm going to share with you one little tool that I learned from the Habits of Health system, and it's called structural tension. And by the way, think about the word tension. I don't know about you, but I don't feel too good about the word tension. And structure, I don't know about you, but I don't feel too good about that word too. And you put both those words together, and I kind of think, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But let me tell you, so here's what happens. You want to create tension between where you wish you were or where you want to be and where you are. I want to create lots of tension, because that tension is what's going to motivate you to action. You want to be over here and you're over here and you don't like it, that you're not there. You're upset about it. It's frustrating. And then with the work of a coach and the Habits of Health system, you basically, here's another analogy. I know I have too many analogies, but you're standing on one side of a river. That's current reality. Where you want to be is the other side of the river. The Habits of Health system, working with your coach, is going to create some stepping stones to walk across that river. And it will alleviate that tension as you get closer to it. Does that make sense? So structural tension is different because you start with what you want, and then you contrast that with where you are, and then you build a bridge to get there. Now, what most people do, and this is how the human mind will work without any intervention. You will go, ouch, that hurts, and try to make it hurt less. It's problem solving. That's what we're pre-wired to do. And most of us get to a point at which we're so uncomfortable with ourselves, our habits, our fatness, our whatever you want to call it, that we're so tired of it, we want it to stop. So we do things to alleviate the pain. The problem with that is our motivation is connected to that pain. And as the pain goes down, there goes our motivation. So if you'll trust me on this, don't trust me, actually trust thousands of people that have utilized this. I'm only one of them. Instead of trying to solve your problems, which by the way, you will never solve all of your problems, but instead switch over and start with your dreams. Doesn't that sound more fun? I don't know about you, but I'd rather start with my dreams than my problems. And then work towards your dreams, probably solving some problems in the process. If you think about it, it's a double dip, because you're going to solve problems on the way to your dreams versus just solving your problems on the way to who knows where. So that's structural tension. Make sure you have some good tension in there, and then work with the coach to create your structure and the Habits of Health system. Thanks, David.
Great stuff, Craig. So if we go back to our mountain climbing concept, is that, the uphill hopes and dreams are uphill. That's the path of resistance. And what Craig is talking about is creating that tension that pulls you to the top of the mountain. And Dr. A's transformational program is a physical, mental, and a total life transformational program that gives you the simple principles to adopt healthy habits, one healthy habit at a time. And if you haven't had a chance to read through the material, you can actually get a free ebook from the person that invited you to this webinar to start learning more about the opportunities. And we also have all kinds of great podcasts. If you want to watch replays of the different podcasts that we do, we have got great resources. These are free resources that anybody can go watch. And here's the link that you can look at. And there's great resources there in lots of different topics. And to continue to focus on what it is that you want to do and how to go about doing it, we encourage you to plug into these podcasts in 2019 so that you're constantly renewing your mind with the strategies, tactics, and encouragement to climb that mountain. Next, we're going to bring up Donnie, and Donnie's going to talk about engaging in community with other climbers. Donnie, welcome to the webinar.
Thanks so much, David. You know, what we're talking about today is making it easier to win, right? So many people talk about resolutions, and they talk about it and they think about it, and then it goes away in about 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'll wait till 2020, right? And what we're talking about is setting ourselves up for success. And I've got to tell you that my little secret gem, if you will, in my pocket is the community. I want to play a little game with everybody. That whole word association game. And I'm going to say a word or a term, a little phrase, and I would love for everybody to post into the chat their first thought. You guys ready? You ready to type? Okay, so this is the word: peer pressure. What do you think of first when you think of peer pressure? Curious what people are saying here. Let's see here. They're saying, don't do drugs, teens, stress. A lot of times it's associated with drugs and teens. And we think, well, we're not teens. What does that have to do with me? Well, this is the thing, is that we are the product of peer pressure. Whether we like it or not, that is the basis for culture. Human beings, as human beings, people do what people do. And so let me give you a little example. A lot of people have a resolution to maybe improve their blood pressure or get more fit or lose some weight, right? And obviously, if you're going to choose between a salad and pizza and you're thinking, okay, I want to lose weight, one is going to tip over the other. Now, get together with your closest friends and have them say, hey, you guys want to go out for pizza? What's easier, the pizza or the salad? When everybody is ordering the pizza, guess what you're probably going to do? You're probably going to do the pizza. It doesn't matter whether you are 15, 25, 35, or 65. As human beings, we crave the need to fit in, okay? And so what we can do to set ourselves up for success, no matter what your aspiration or resolution is to connect with people that are striving for what you want. Because I'm going to give you the opposite example. Imagine that your closest friends are all training for a triathlon. They're all fit and buff. And they're like, hey, you guys want to go for lunch? And they're all ordering salad. Do you think it's going to be easier for you to order the pizza and the donut, or to just get the salad? Because everybody's doing it. All of a sudden, it feels a lot easier for you to gravitate towards the healthier choice because everyone is doing it. Now, obviously, as adults, we are a little bit more aware, you would think, of the choices that we're making. But the truth is that we are the product of the top 5 people that we spend time with. So today, my tips for you is this. Number 1, gain some clarity on what it is that your goal is, right? Earlier we just wrote down what our resolutions are. You know what that is. Now, write down the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. Once you have those names down, I'd like for you to evaluate every single one and determine, is this person better than me in this arena? Let's just say, let's use the fitness arena, right? Is this person more fit than me or less fit than me? And score them on a scale from 1 to 5, right? 5 is they're more fit than me, 3 is just like me, and 1, they're less fit than me, right? And of those 5 people, how many of them are over 3? And for a lot of us, when it comes to our health, we're surrounded by people that are not making health a priority, which just makes it a little bit more difficult for us to be successful. Can we be successful? Absolutely. But what we're talking about today is setting yourself up for success. And that includes plugging in with a community. So once you know what your current community looks like, once you know where you want to be, now be intentional about building the tribe that's going to get you where you want to go. The tribe that's going to help you climb that mountain of optimal health. And whether that be by connecting with your coach and this amazing community, or whether it be, maybe your goal, I've seen people say that their resolution is to get more organized, or whatever it might be. Go on to different groups. They've got Facebook groups, whatever. Bottom line is connect with people that are either doing better than you or are striving for what it is that you're striving for, and your chances of success will go up exponentially.
So good, Donnie. So good. And, this is the kind of tribe that I'm attracted to, because that vibe, it attracts me. I want to be around people that are climbing the mountain. And, the idea that Tenzing Norgay was the partner of Sir Edmund Hillary, and the two of them climbed Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, and they did it together in community. And now, time and time again, over 5,000 people have summited Mount Everest because they found a way, they found a community and a strategy that works for them. So let's bring this all together and wrap this up in a pretty bow and take it into 2019. Let's talk about your strategic action plan. What is your plan to achieve your New Year's resolutions? Are you just, thinking about doing it? Are you wishing upon a star? Or are you resolving to create a plan of action? Now, many of you, I know, you have failed. You have failed to achieve your resolutions, and you're scared to write down specific goals that are measurable and attainable and relevant and timely, and you don't want to spend the time to evaluate because you've fallen short. But when you're working with a system that creates predictable transformation, when you're working with a coach, when you're working with a community, and you have that desire and motivation, and you're focused on those uphill hopes and dreams, and you know why you're doing it, I'm telling you, the strategy works, but it comes down to, will you work the strategy? Will you come up with your plan? Will you take these next couple of days and will you get strategic about making sure that your calendar matches your goal? Most of us, we don't have a calendar that matches our goal. So I want to challenge you over these next 24 to 48 hours. Don't wait too long to connect with the person that invited you. Start crafting your plan. Maybe it's a friend or a family member. Maybe it's a coach. Start working together with that person and start identifying some specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound goals that you can begin to work towards in the next week, in the next month. Keep it small. You may not be able to do 50 push-ups, but maybe you could do one against the wall. Maybe you could start to do something. Maybe it's replacing something unhealthy with something healthy. It's not an all or nothing approach, but it is all or nothing if you don't get involved with a coach, or you don't have accountability, and you don't have community, and you don't have a transformational system, and you don't have a plan. You don't have a chance in 2019. You have to refine that plan, and you have to take action on it. Motivation, like Zig Ziglar said, is like bathing. If you don't do it daily, life begins to stink. So don't assume that you're going to work this thing out, that you're going to resolve to be healthier or happier or more fulfilled, or you're going to save or make more money. Come up with a plan and remind yourself of why you're doing it. And I'm going to wrap up with saying these webinars are available for replay. And I would encourage you to maybe watch this replay over and over and over again until it becomes like it's part of your memory. We also have podcasts that you can go into your podcast player and search it and play it on your favorite podcast player when you're doing your activity or exercise or cleaning the house. So don't let this get away from you. Reach back to the person that invited you, create a little vibe around your tribe, and start talking about New Year's resolutions as though they were going to happen. And we hope that you have enjoyed our presentation tonight. And if you did, please feel free to share it with someone else or encourage other people to watch the replay, because we really appreciate all of your support.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.